beautiful friends, welcome to today's video. It feels so good to be back in the studio set up, creating videos for you. I have 3 ways I want to share with you that I have found to be potent in stepping into new realities, a higher octave of living, and personal peace, personal empowerment, deep sense of self-love and belonging in your own body. So I have 3 things that I want to talk about here. I love being back. Can I just take a moment and say how much I love being back in this filming situation? It feels so good. I've got a ton of notes to talk about. So the first thing I want to talk about is on this channel, you know that I love to talk about the divine feminine embodiment and divine feminine teachings. What does that actually practically look like in day-to-day living? So when we are truly in our divine feminine embodiment, right? To me, and I've got a whole playlist of videos on that you can explore. But for me, it really looks like so much allowing yourself to be vulnerable. That is the divine feminine in action, is there is this allowing yourself to feel what's happening in your body no matter what. You allow that process to unfold. You are receiving your reality through the psychic centers in the body. I have a video on that, how your entire body is a psychic center. It's not just the third eye, it's your hands, it's your feet, it's absolutely your stomach. It is absolutely your third eye, but your entire being is receiving information, right? As someone who's devoted themselves to a divine feminine embodiment, and to be on that path, right, is an allowing to continue to open vulnerably. Okay, so this is the first thing that I want to talk about, and being able to anchor your new earth reality. You have to stay open. Being in the divine feminine in this way all the time, what that does, it evokes a deep sense of accountability to yourself and to those who are around you. And this is so important because right now, as I tune into the collective field, there is such a craving for many things, but one of them is accountability. The second way to anchor the new earth reality is to carve your own middle path. What is the middle path? I made a quick video on this when we were talking about the Ahriman and Lucifer agendas, right? Those 2 extremes, and finding that middle Christ path. You could also see this as, it's really about like being at the center still point of paradox, of the light and the dark, of the known and the unknown, right? All of these things are one idea, and we're here as light workers who are walking towards new earth to be in the middle path of that, not to get too sucked in to either side, right? Staying in that place of neutrality, right? You can be in a place of neutrality and your heart can be busted wide open. It really can. Having your heart open and being in a place of openness and walking towards the depths of who you are, you can do that, and you can do that as a witness to your own emotional spectrum, to your own mental chatter, the back and forth that your mind will do, right? The mind splits us. The mind is here for duality, okay? And that's just how on a spiritual conversation, the mind splits us, okay? The heart unifies us. Now, when you're carving out a middle path for yourself, essentially what that is a back and forth from yourself and spirit, okay? Whatever you call spirit. It's the pinging back and forth from your human experience to spirit, that pathway, right? The more that you do that, the more narrow the path becomes. This is such a beautiful thing, right? So on the spiritual journey, we'll sort of start out walking down a a road, right? And then we realize there's like all these cars and things that are coming on that road, right? And so it's almost like then the road becomes even smaller. It becomes like a sidewalk, okay? And you're walking on the sidewalk, and then there's other things that come and almost narrow that path even more, to then you're walking like on a tightrope, right? And the things that I'm referring to that are coming your way are lessons, are triggers that you realize are your own shadow work to do. And the more and more that you do that, the more narrow your personal path becomes, and the more clear you are to what is yours to do. Okay? That is the journey. That is the journey. It's about getting that so laser particular on what is yours to do, what is yours to be accountable for, what is your responsibility, what does your own personal power look like. It becomes just the most sincere, authentic path for you. And it becomes free of other personalities, which at the beginning started at the size of cars, right? Like I would say like one personality we could say is like mainstream media, right? For a majority of my 20s and earlier, right? That was a big influence on my path, right? I got that out of my, that's not on my path now, okay? The path becomes more narrow. Then we have like other people, right? That come in and they're these teachers for us to get us even more aligned with what is authentic for you. What is yours and what is not yours. Okay, so all of these lessons and all of these teachers, all that they're doing is helping us get very narrow, not very narrow, help us get very aligned with our own authentic truth. Okay, so that again, that happens between your communion with Spirit. And you can do mass meditations, you can do guided meditations, of course. But for the sake of a truly authentic path becoming more and more narrow, this is about time with you, and maybe nature, maybe the earth can be there, to assist, to ground, to be that anchor. The third way to anchor new earth would be to step into a full ownership of your power and your responsibility. Now, I want to start with responsibility, then we'll talk about power. But responsibility is such an important conversation to have at this time. Why? Because light workers, if we step into more responsibility for your time, responsibility for your energy, responsibility for your physical body and what you decide to consume. Okay, that can be food, information, personalities, whatever it is. Full responsibility for that. The blame game no longer exists in New Earth. Doesn't exist. And so when you take full responsibility for your reality, what does that do? It empowers you. You become very powerful when you take full responsibility for the way that you're spending your time. When you take full responsibility for really witnessing how you're spending your time and taking action to see the changes made that need to be made. I talk to mothers about this a lot because we are so pulled in many different directions, right? And our children are so dependent on us, especially when they're really little. And when they get older too, right? They're depending on us in different ways. They might be depending on you to actually give them some space. They're depending on you to be an embodiment of whatever it is that they need in that moment. The thing about responsibility, and what I'm very excited to be talking about in my upcoming course where we're dismantling the dark arts, is that there are so many dark forces at play right now. They have absolutely no problem with taking on a lot of responsibility for making a lot of big decisions, for making massive changes with our collective consciousness, with our collective humanity, with our people. They're totally comfortable with taking on that much responsibility. Is the light worker as comfortable taking on that much responsibility? And if the answer is no, why not? Is there going to be a better time for you other than right now? I love you so much, and I'm so grateful to be on this path with you and to be carving out my own middle path right alongside yours. It's such a blessing. It's such an honor. I've got resources for you in the description below, and I only gave 3 ways to anchor New Earth. I want to hear your ways down in the comments as you're watching this video. I would love to engage with you in that conversation. There's thousands of different ways and angles that we can look at this, and I want to hear what is particularly important to you as you are walking your middle path. What is a guiding light in front of you as you're walking towards New Earth? I would love to hear that in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on the bell. I'm so excited to be back creating more regular content for you. It feels so good to be connecting with you in this way, and I'll see you in the next video.